Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledging knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Did you all hear that?
Hear what? Which part?
I didn't hear the intro, so I mean.
Okay, I heard it. Did anybody get? Man, we are having all kinds of technical.
Look, folks, welcome to not only Topic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Audio Trouble Central.
For 13 fucking years, I've been doing this shit, and I still deal with this fucking nonsense. Why can't the technology just fucking work like it's supposed to?
See, okay, cool. So clearly, folks, this is not the first time I've said this in my life, but I'm the problem. It's me. Right? I understand there's audio problems, and Ben and I went through a series of pre-show solutions. I tried a different cable. I tried a different microphone. I tried a more direct connection to the laptop over here, and still nothing. So now it's down to my USB connection between the board and my laptop and my actual sweet little, very expensive 4-channel board. That might be the problem.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess, I think your board is taking a crap.
No.
I think that's what you're up against. So.
I will push every button, and I will do every test. Yes.
I turned up your volume on my end a little bit too. I know people have been complaining that Brooks has been a little bit quieter. I hope his volume is up a little bit more and a little bit more improved. I don't know if you guys. I only hear him in one channel still, but I don't know if that's changed for you guys. But fuck it. We're going to wing it. We lost a week. We're fucking already 11 minutes late. We got shit to talk about, Brooks. I got shit to talk about.
I was thinking about you when the writers sent me the draft for the show, Ben. So why don't we get to it? But I think we also need to get to the next segment. Folks, by the way, welcome to Topic Thunder. We fashion ourselves as the Internet Saloon here, and as we welcome in the very first segment, very cleverly named as Drinks. If you're new to the show, welcome in. Smash that like button, whatever venue you're watching on. If you're a regular to the saloon, welcome. My name is Brooks. That's Ben. We're info tenders, and I
would encourage you not just. I was thinking about this last week.
Yes.
You always ask people to smash that like button.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that.
Yes.
But most everybody at this point has probably already liked it. That is in the crowd. I'm going to ask you guys to do something different for us. Ooh. I'm going to ask for you to go to whatever social media you're on now, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whatever the case may be, and hit the share button and share the live stream to the folks that are on your wall and say, hey, join the fun, because it's always better when we have more people in the live. It's one thing to tell people afterwards. But it's fun to have people in the world's most dangerous chat room, new faces in the chat room. So if you don't mind, share the video, share the show when it goes live, and that will help us attract more viewers and more peoples as well.
Do all the things.
Please help us out. Hook us up.
If you like it, this is the kind of thing that then you share, and maybe if more people like it, then cooler things start to happen, and there might be other, more avenues, more listenership, more people in the chat zone, more, I don't know, like everybody has a podcast that they've seen progress through the years, and suddenly there's merchandise, suddenly there's tiers and levels of membership and stuff like that, and different access, and eventually Ben and I can just not do our regular day jobs and just focus on media and social media.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, I mean, why else? I mean, sure, yes, wild dreams.
Hey, Brooks, I don't mean to derail the show again, but I think the one channel thing that I'm hearing, the problem that I'm having is my headphones problem. With the headphones jack that I have, my little headphone jack, you come in and out of both ears. I think it might be a me problem.
You son of a bitch. You put me through all this anxiety and change you.
Wait, and now,
son of
now my headphones have completely stopped working.
No offense to Mrs. Jordan. What am I saying here? But okay, so as Ben is adjusting,
that's the only time Ben is ever
right. Like we're gonna cut that scene up. We're gonna cut that like minute and a half up, and we'll send that to everybody.
Yeah, she's gonna use it as a new ringtone, I think.
It's basically like yes. So if I'm coming through on both of your channels and I'm okay, there's Ryan Hansen. Thank you so much, because I literally swapped cables, I swapped microphones, I was doing all kinds of stuff, and all the way to get to this one point is that I was treated to a I didn't know this price point until just maybe 30 minutes ago. But I was treated for my birthday by my coworkers, my close coworkers, the fellow coordinators in the X-ray department there at old work, to a bottle of bourbon that, as my friend Jasmine says, came highly recommended. Now, I'm not familiar with this label. I'm not at all familiar with this brand. So I, of course, in the research of the show, I was going to wait for the show here to open it and share with everybody.
Yes.
And in research, to find a link to show you guys what I'm actually drinking and share that with you, I saw the price point, and I was kind of immediately humbled, because it's like a $160 or something bottle of bourbon, and that it's very humbling and very appreciative. I feel that love right now, right? And because that's that, I don't know, that validates how I try to treat my coworkers and stuff like that, right? That they go that far. So
no, absolutely, that's so fucking cool.
This is a barrel craft spirits bourbon. Ben, this is bottle number 5075.
Okay.
All right. Do we want to play the proof game? You might see it right there, but that's not what this has been bottled at. That might be an approximation.
This 94 score, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
It is not 94, you're saying?
No. Do you want? Okay, let's play the up or down.
More or less? Well, you wouldn't be bringing it up if it were less.
This is very true and very astute of you.
Yes, I'm gonna have to go with more on this one. I'm gonna see if my the camera can get that close to the bottle here. Yeah, it gets a little blurry. Hold on, back it up just a smidge. It's blurry. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's a little blurry. I'll read that to you. It's not a problem. It's blurry for me too. It's 50.29% for an equivalent 100.53 proof.
Wow.
So it did better than the advertisement. And again, to my friends at work, to everybody, cheers. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Topic Thunder, the Internet Saloon, where Ben and I are about to probably actually disagree. So let's drink up.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Also, your audio, what I'm hearing is coming through my computer, and I want to make sure that let me know if you're in the crowd in the world's most dangerous time, there's an echo or you're hearing Brooks. But if it's not, this seems to work for me. I don't have to wear headphones. I can hear you in both ears. It's very clear. So if everything is good right now, I'm not going to touch anything. and we're just
You
going
don't
to
sound, you don't sound like echoey, like, because I know that can sometimes be a problem. Where
correct. So
like,
just as long as we're cool in the chat room, Ma Jordan says we sound good, then fuck it, let's go.
woo! It's headlines. Nobody's ever thought of naming a segment on a news-related podcast or TV show or radio show ever.
Never.
That was us.
It's not on the Daily Show. The Daily Show doesn't do the exact same thing at all.
What? What's the Daily Show? Never heard
I don't know. I've never heard of it. I've heard it's on television somewhere.
What's television? Never heard of it.
Good point.
Hey, we do have a lot to talk about. We've been a couple of weeks away. We're sometimes a little time off is good, and trust me when I say the birthday was well celebrated. So thank you for everybody who did send me their wishes and all that fun stuff. So I do appreciate that. Ben, you might be able to call this story up, but I got one shot at it before I had to sign up for something. It's from Chicago's very own Sun-Times.
Yes,
and
I didn't have to. I think I got, like, because I don't go to the Sun-Times website very often. I think we might be okay.
Early this morning, and this is crazy because this was happening at I guess started at 4:45 in the morning. To let you all in on my morning routine, by about 5:15 in the morning, I'm usually sipping some coffee here after having walked the dog, and I started seeing some of these tweets come in from my very trusted Chicago news sources, and a very pro-Palestinian group had set up an encampment at the University of Chicago, who has notoriously and almost righteously defended a very neutral stance on a lot of political issues, trying to balance the idea that they are in fact a learning institution, that they're as an institution they shouldn't be taking positions that free speech is welcome on their campus. So heretofore, I guess is the right term, come these pro-Palestinian, pro-Gaza, and we have to also say anti-Israel, and in some aspects anti-Jew encampments and elements to these encampments, right?
Yes, there's always going to be any protest, right? Black Lives Matter protests got co-opted by people with bad intentions or people on the extreme fringes that did things that undermined the overall or the main purpose of the protests. I think in any protest, on any side, January 6th is a perfect example. Like, there were a lot of people at the Capitol on January 6th that were peaceful and were going about things the right way, and then there was an extreme fringe of those people that got out of control, and they should be held accountable. But you don't punish all of the people that were there at the Capitol. Only the people that broke the law should be punished.
100. Well, agreed. So when does this become these sit-ins? And this is just not, obviously, this is not local to Chicago or the University of Chicago. This is
spreading like wildfire across college campus.
It truly is. This another very similar situation happened, I believe, just 2 days ago at UCLA, and I think just today again at University of Washington, D.C. So where we've had these protests for a legitimate political reason, not unlike Vietnam, not unlike the Gulf War protests. And remember back the second Gulf War where we all knew it was like, this is bullshit. Like, this is bullshit. Like, you're doing this for other than like there are threat reasons. Like the protests that there were, people hanging banners on overpasses and protests like saying, don't do it, you're going to cause a lot of disruption in the Middle East that will echo through decades later.
Yeah, I mean,
and so this does not negate the spirit of the protest, right? Because I think you and I, Ben, are in agreement in that, like, if you believe in a cause and you feel that you're the institution that you're attending is spending money to a cause that you are absolutely vehemently against, I get the protest. Protest the hell out of that.
right.
That is your right. And at that age, you are supposed to be, we expect you to be rebellious to the system. You're 21, 22 years old. You're going to the University of Chicago. You've got a really good head on your shoulders, and you might have some kind of social bend to you. Welcome to expectations, right? But for the university to make this decision, let me be very clear about this. Chicago Police Department was asked to be a part of this. They declined.
Interesting.
And actually, the one recent good thing he may have done, the mayor of Chicago, basically warned and said to the University of Chicago, don't do it. They were, of course, surprised ahead of this, not even 2 hours ahead of time, by the way, that this was going to happen. And the mayor...
This encampment had not turned like destructive and violent like at Columbia.
No, they weren't breaking windows, and they weren't occupying buildings. And to the best of my knowledge, and again, this is a thing to go ahead and everybody take a second and research. They were not like blocking Jewish students from attending class like we've seen in other campuses.
It looks like they're occupying the main quadrangle of the, and that's what's happening at a lot of places. That they're setting up these tent encampments and just occupying public space is as a form of protest. And I'm sorry, there's nothing wrong with that. And to have police involved in moving and confronting those people, you're only asking for violence. You're only asking for pushback. And thankfully, I watched it, on the news recently. I believe it was UCLA a couple of days ago. I think you just mentioned it. But I was watching live when they were arresting people live on television, basically, at like 6 o'clock in the morning, arresting these students. And they were all very peaceful. They weren't resisting or anything. And that's lucky. But it's not going. I said this a couple of weeks ago. And it's just getting more and more ramped up. We're going to have a major incident on a college campus in the coming weeks. As the weather warms up, continues to warm up, and the weather continues to improve all across the country, you're going to see more of these protests. And I'm telling you, something is going to happen where it's going to go too far on one side or the other, or both. It is a tinderbox just waiting to explode.
Yeah, I was going to say Kent State. I'm super proud of the pretty lady Amy Cleaver to step in and mention that too. Like something like that, Ben, is just about. And Ryan Hansen mentioned the same thing.
This is where we're headed, man. And you can convince me otherwise. You can try to convince me otherwise, but that sure feels like where we're going with this.
No, I do want to take a quick step back to something Dad Evan Brooks mentioned, that Hamas started this and they are Palestinians. Yes, you're 100% right about that. Well, with some side caveats, like not all Palestinians are Hamas, and Hamas is one of the great lines from the very first Captain America movie was the scientist, Professor Erskine, telling Steve Rogers, eventually Captain America, that the Nazis were invaded Germany first. Germany was invaded by the Nazis first, and that you could be said for the Palestinians, that Hamas is a very violent strain of a certain set of people that have acquired power and are backed by a nuclear powered state in Iran, that which now is backed by North Korea and Russia and China, to achieve certain goals. It's not necessarily saying that all Palestinians are Hamas, and you're starting to see some of this. However,
that's the rhetoric that I've tried to push back on, and that you're hearing is that it's almost like a blame. They're blaming the Palestinians as a whole for the actions of Hamas, as if the Palestinians have any control over what Hamas does. They don't. Let's be very clear. This is a very extreme militant group, like you say, backed by some very powerful people. But they were pushed to that point. Hamas just didn't come out of nowhere unprovoked, right? Like that's what we were trying to say. Again, thousands of years worth of tit for tat.
Without getting into the thousands of years, let's just yes, you're not wrong, right? You're not wrong, absolutely. But the last 70 years, especially when we're really truly focusing
post World War II is when it really got messy.
When people were displaced from where they were living to make room for another group of people who had a legitimate claim to land. But that claim to the land displaced people who had a legitimate claim to the land. So
legitimate though, like again, that's legitimate by what? A book? A religion? Like, and is that legitimate? Like, I don't know.
But the Israeli and Jewish people did come from that area. That's indisputable. Like if you look at going back, not just by the Bible as a religious text, but look at it through the historical version of it too. And that's backed up historically. Like
that's all well and good, but you don't get to. But that does not give them any, at least in my opinion, doesn't give them any sort of right to go back to that land after they have left. After their families have left that area. To then go back to that area and say, "This is mine. I'm claiming it. Well, you gotta go."
That actually, you can also blame on the victors of World War II and the Europeans and the Americans.
There's a lot of blame to go around. It's not
that basically said, "Oh, sure, well, you Jews can't stay in Europe, so we're gonna send you somewhere else. Where else would we?" We're going to send our problem. And I'm not saying Jews are a problem. Like, look, I know that was a very crude statement. I would be very clear about this. Like,
right. But the context is key. And
the context of this entire historical thing. It's very compact way of saying. Like, they literally, the European leaders did not want Jewish people in Europe. Let's just be very clear about that. History bears all of that out. And that's why they decided on the shores of what we know as Israel today, they basically forced what we know as the Palestinian people out to make room for who we know now as the Jewish Israeli people that are very much backed by the military might of the United States of America right now. So that is the crux of this, right? And it's bleeding through for a whole bunch of reasons. Now, it's being highlighted through academia, right? Mm-hmm. Where very well-reported and well-documented influences from foreign governments are absolutely pouring money into universities. Research grants for a ton of different reasons. For a ton of different reasons. But there's a ton of money coming from the Middle East and China into our university systems. Through grants, and that influences people, personnel, and doctrines in those universities. It's just a matter of business, right?
I can understand. You can understand that. Yeah, I wasn't aware. This is interesting. I didn't know that.
What I'm saying, and Ben, this is kind of actually what we are talking about at the top of the topic, is that these protests across universities in the United States might not be as pure as we think they are, or might give a forgiveness to, like, oh, they're 21, they're 22, they have these strong beliefs and they're not maybe well seasoned in the world, but God bless their hearts for believing in the right thing.
Yeah, well, the mayor of New York was on CBS News last week after the Columbia thing went down. And they interviewed him, and he made a claim in that interview and in multiple interviews afterwards that the reason that that the police ended up going in and breaking it up at Columbia was that there were outside influences, I think is how he called it. I don't remember how, but he made it very clear that there were outside actors, I think is how he called it, that were co-opting the protest and pushing it further than it was meant to be, and getting to a level of violence that undermined the protest. You're saying that what you're saying, and if I'm hearing you right, is that you kind of tend to agree with that. And now I guess the next question is it who are those actors, and what is their agenda? Is it a right wing? Is it kind of like the Black Lives Matter thing, where right wing people were purposely undermining? Remember the guy in Minneapolis that smashed the windows
and set fire to, like, I think threw a Molotov
right,
cocktail
and kicked off the whole fucking nonsense in Minnesota,
was
right?
That Proud Boy? Was he a Proud Boy, or was he like
I believe a right wing group of some sort? I do, but right. it was quickly found out.
Oath Keeper.
Is it that, or is it extreme groups that are using this as a kind of what's the word I'm looking for, like a petri dish, if you will, for lack of a better term, like a breeding ground for pushing things a little too far, or radicalizing in a way?
Well, okay, so let me try to answer your question with a question back to you.
Sure.
Who would stand to gain on a global political stage from this sort of internal chaos in the United States of America?
I mean, it always goes back to the same fucking characters, right? I mean, we talk about that. We talk about the Legion of Doom, our
That's
real Legion of Doom. We're talking about China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, that whole group, that syndicate, right?
So who's gaining on this?
So that, yeah, I mean, I could see how they could be fomenting or paying these actors, to go in and take things to an extreme to undermine, and it's working, right? Because you hear the people on the right wing of this country coming out and saying, see these liberal kids on these campuses, they're out of control, these fucking liberal kids, and these schools, they need to do something and fire every fucking buddy that's in charge at these schools.
But why would they? Okay, so you just hit on a point. Why would they be asking for presidents of universities to be fired? Might it be that they have the next replacement already lined up, and that might be more sympathetic?
Yeah, you would think.
Folks, this is episode 155 of Topic Thunder. Have we not proven in the 155 episodes of this show that the tentacles of our adversaries stretch as deep as any James Bond sci-fi 3 Days of the Condor, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, political, global espionage, entrapment. Have we not proven that?
Yeah.
Does this seem like a conspiracy theory that we're wearing aluminum foil tin hats and following Marjorie Greene Taylor to try to oust yet another Speaker of the House? Or do we seem like we are stringing together a series of episodes and stories and events that point towards a legitimate set of global adversaries we have not witnessed or seen or dealt with openly since the Cold War?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue. I'll tell you that. We've laid it all out. I mean, I'm telling you, I call it the Legion of Doom because that's what it feels like. It's the fucking Joker and fucking
Lex Luthor and the Penguin and all those weird DC guys that I can't name right now. But okay, so I did want to give some measure of I guess rebuttal to the University of Chicago and the much now beleaguered president of the university conveniently was able to give an opinion piece in a Wall Street Journal. I don't know. Yesterday. This was yesterday when this was printed. Let me tell you that. At 5:01 p.m. yesterday, when I tell you I was sipping coffee and watching those encampments being ended this morning at 5 a.m., 12 hours later. It's just a snippet because I'm not paying for the Wall Street Journal. It's a principle animated by the idea that authority can't establish truth for an entire institution dedicated to truth-seeking. Rather, it is the imperative of individuals to seek truth without being limited by authority. Institutional neutrality vests freedom of inquiry and speech directly in faculty and students where it belongs. The protesters were determined that the university should take sides in the conflict in Israel and Gaza. Faculty members and students are more than free to engage in advocacy on one side or the other. But if the university did so as an institution, it would no longer to be much of a university.
It's an interesting argument.
I put that there for a reason, because there's the triangle of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
am willing to listen to that argument. At the beginning of those quotes, I was ready to kind of pounce and be like, bullshit. But I see the point in that the university can't pick sides, which is different than what was happening at, say, Columbia, where students were protesting and demanding that the university stop picking sides, right? Because they were invested in Israel, or I believe they're taking money from or investing in Israeli government projects or in the Israeli government in some fashion.
One or the other, but you're absolutely right. But so is
that's
the University
picking
of Chicago,
time, right? And so I think in this sense, I agree with the university president here, because if the idea is, hey, listen, you can pick sides, but we are not. We are going to remain neutral. We're not going to pick one side or the other. I'm cool with that because, as we've said from the beginning, that's probably the best position and the only real position of morality that one can take, is to say, I don't pick either side of this nonsense, because both sides have their flaws, great flaws.
Which I have to say is actually the most difficult side to take, but the correct one for an institution such as an accomplished and prestigious university such as.
You and I are saying this and agreeing with this, because we are staunch advocates of pick a goddamn side. Being in the middle is not usually where we allow or like people to be on a subject. It's like, fuck you, man. Pick a side. There's not all sides are the same. In this instance, though, the middle is really because all sides are the same in a lot of ways, the middle is the right place to be on this.
It's not easy. And
No.
Of course, like, let's also just remember, like, the conversation kicked off with University of Chicago police forcibly removing these protesters,
Right.
Literally waking them up and dragging. It got ugly, and I also want to point out, while we can credit the one thing Mayor Johnson has done correctly by advocating to not first do this, and two, pulling back CPD, and even CPD said this is not a good idea, which is even more crazy because those guys just can't wait to get involved. And
right. And they
put on riot gear. We're going to put on this fucking armor and these helmets and hold these machine guns. I'm all in.
That's what I fucking signed up for.
Right? Adrenaline drunk. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's kind of what it is. CPD advised against this. So the University of Chicago Police Department, again, an independent law enforcement community that literally they have jurisdiction on campus over CPD, from what I understand, reached out to Cook County Sheriff's Office, who were more than happy to oblige an outer perimeter of law enforcement, while the University of Chicago Police Department actively went in with SWAT gear on to dismantle the tents. And
there's probably better ways of handling it, but I think both things can be true. The university president's stance is correct and understandable, and the idea to go ahead and clear that encampment was wrong as well. Like the two things can both be true, right? Forcibly removing the protesters just because of what their demand was. It sounds to me, it wasn't that they had gotten violent. It wasn't that there was a risk to students or the welfare of anyone. It was that we can't oblige what they're protesting for. So we're just going to clear them out because we don't. I guess I don't understand why they had to.
We honestly see where this is going.
Yeah.
And it might become a situation where it becomes their...
We'll just head it off in the past now because there's nothing we're going to do about it.
And legit, like, if you're dealing with folks that have maybe multiple PhDs and they've spent their entire lives negotiating or dealing with high leverage things and decided, like, well, I've worked for the State Department for 30 years and now I'm going to teach. I'm going to work for the University of Chicago. Oh, this is happening. Could we lean on your expertise in hostage, tense situations for your how to get leverage? And once it got to a situation where the university and the protesting groups probably came to a loggerhead as far as their negotiations, where let's be very clear. The protesters were probably asking for way too much and something so silly that, like, look, okay, we're not going to divest from Israel. It's just not going to happen, right? That'd be like divesting from the state of Illinois or our endowment. It's not going to happen. And then the protesters are like, well, we're just... There was no logical end for that.
Are they invested in the state of Israel, or because again, if that's the case, then you are picking sides.
Well, most of these universities are legitimately taking money from basically anybody that will cut a check to them.
And of course, right, that makes sense.
So it could be Israeli-backed companies or the government itself. For sure, it's Chinese linked. For sure, is Qatar or Saudi Arabia linked money that pours into that. So again, it's it's for sure a problem. But again, the fruition of probably a plan. But it sounds way too crazy to believe a James Bond Avengers plot that would never really happen in real life, would it? So, all that said, the protesters protesting the use of American weaponry against Gaza's Strip, Rafah, the upcoming apparent operation there, and the Palestinian people in general, the president warned that he's going to hold back more weapons. If you didn't hear, Ben, he held back already a bunch of weapons.
I did hear that, and you know what? Credit where it's due. Like, okay, cool. That's at least this is the first time it seems that we have put our foot down, so to speak, legitimately, more than like, hey, if you do this, it's like, you know, when you don't know this, but if you like warn a kid, don't touch that, and they go,
wait, I do know that because I was that kid,
right? So that's what it's felt like up to this point, and this, I'll give Biden credit if he is holding back weapons, and they got to draw a line in the sand at some point. They've got to say, okay, we're not going to support you if you do this. And invading Rafah seems like a good point to put your foot down.
And it's not just the invasion of Rafah; it's the lack of humanitarian aid and corridors for civilians to seek shelter or at least go. But let's be very clear. Go where?
Exactly. You're telling these people to evacuate this area, but there's nowhere for them to go. So that's why like we have to put our foot down and say, you can't do this. You cannot invade this area because it is theater to tell these people to go somewhere else because there is nowhere for them to go. And how many more women and children have to die as shields, for lack of a better term, for Hamas before you just realize that you got to go about it with a different strategy.
Shields that you're willing to kill.
Right. That you have no problem mowing through.
I can make a case for the point of Topic Thunder is not to pick sides. The point of Topic Thunder is to have an interesting and informative debate. So I can make a case for a pro-Palestinian situation. I can make a case for a pro-Israeli situation. Mm-hmm. I can make we do make an anti-Hamas situation here, right? But we also can look at somebody like, say, Benjamin Netanyahu and go, yeah, that guy is really not helping the situation.
No. And dude, there is a rising amount of protest in Israel against Netanyahu. The families of the hostages that Hamas has, I mean, that's a story that's kind of simmered under it gets reported a little bit, but not really as much as you would think it should. That the Israeli people are against what Netanyahu and the government are doing.
Much of them. It should be said. There have been protests in the streets of Israel against the current form of government because they disagree with the hard-handed rule of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Likud political party that he belongs to.
It's all. I mean, I don't. Zionist, I don't know if that's but that's the word that gets thrown out a lot in describing it. I don't know if that's kind of like MAGA.
That becomes way too like that's such a trigger word and thrown around like I firmly believe like way too much like there are Zionists out there for sure that that is the hardest of hardcore, like we are the only people that belong on this land kind of deal. But like at the end, like,
there's a lot of members of the Israeli government who identify themselves as exactly that.
Which should be taken with a grain of salt and also understood against the context of history. Because, well, it was like only a couple of hundred years ago where politicians in this country are like, well, this country's eminent domain, and we own all of this. Who's here? Wait, we can put let's kill them. And women and children first, we murder.
Yeah, like, remember, Manifest Destiny says God says this is ours,
but not to single that out, because that has gone on through Europe for thousands of years. That has gone on through Africa for thousands of years. That's gone on through Asia and for thousands of years.
Imperialism has been around for as long as humanity has.
To kick off and to circle back to the top of the show, folks, we are the problem. We're the problem.
Yeah.
Our weird beliefs, our weird stances, our weird ideas about how things should be done. Well, you shouldn't you should eat that soup cold. We eat it hot. Oh, fuck you. Well, fuck you. Let's fight.
Right, exactly. We're not going to use the metric system. Fuck off. We're going to create our own system of measurement. Right, like I say that as a joke, but I mean that we are a nation founded on this idea that we are going to do things our way, and our way is the only right way to do things. Right, as long as we have existed, we have tried to impose our way on everyone because we are convinced that our way is the only way that it can be done. But losing the sight of the fact that we are a social experiment that is basically just a couple of 100 years old. We're literally a social experiment
based on an idea that's 1,000 years old, which is self-rule. But but we can't say that this is the first time it's happened. We can look back, Ben. We're going to skip ahead really quick. We can skip ahead to that archaeologists discovering a 7,000-year-old prehistoric settlement in Serbia. Now, the picture you're about to see is a full-on city. I mean, look at it. Like, if you were going to design a city, circular paths, lines roads crossing through, like you would say, I don't know, Archer or Lincoln Avenue, or making your diagonals. And
this was under the ground somewhere.
In Serbia, this was discovered. A prehistoric settlement of massive size has been discovered in the Banat region of southeast Serbia. Archaeologists date the previously unknown settlement to some 7,000 years, much later than the late Neolithic period. Quote, this discovery is of outstanding importance, as hardly as any larger Neolithic settlement are known in the Serbian Banat region. And that was from research leader Martin Furholt, who's from the Institute of Prehistoric and Protohistoric Archaeology at Kiel University in Germany. Hello. The settlement is located near the Tamis River in a Banat region of northeastern Serbia and landlocked in a country in the Balkans. The team managed to fully map the extent of the geographic area of the settlement and determining that it covers roughly 11 to 13 hectares. It's also surrounded by 4 and 6 ditches on each side. So let's find out. Let's legit find out what 11 to 13 hectares are. I'm assuming it's lots of acres. What is 1 hectare? So 1 hectare in U.S. acres is almost basically 2.5 of our acres.
Okay.
So 11 to 13 of those times
2.5.
2.5. Hold on, I hit the wrong buttons. Let's just say, what, 11, so we'll say 12 just for the sake of 2.5. So basically, I hit the wrong button again, Ben. You wouldn't believe it, but that rum, bourbon,
it's worth it. There's a reason it's $150 a bottle.
That is for sure. 30 acres, basically a city of about 30 acres, which is significant.
Yeah.
Especially for 7,000 years ago, where we expected people to not understand roads or complex geometry to be able to set up a city
plan at this point,
or anything like that.
The idea that what people were or weren't supposed to know between 7,000 and 10,000 years ago, at this point, I am convinced whatever the thought process was before, it is not accurate. Like, it is clear that there was knowledge far beyond even what we have today existed on this planet somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 12,000 years ago. I'm convinced of it.
When we say advanced knowledge, did they have microchips? No. But they may have understood the cosmos better than we did. They were certainly tracking celestial events and had a better understanding of our relationship to the universe and to nature as above.
So much knowledge has been destroyed over the existence of human beings that who knows what was known and what wasn't, and what has been forgotten among time, and it has been destroyed and will never. I mean, just the Incas and the Mayans alone, the knowledge and the history, the recordings that they had that were destroyed by Europeans alone. How much more advanced as a civilization will we be at this point had some of that information, survived, or all of that information and knowledge had survived?
Yeah, there was a reason pyramids are built all over the world.
Right,
all over the world.
Mathematical precision.
That shape is not unique to Egypt or the Great Pyramids, and it's all over the world. There are mounds in southwestern Illinois that are pyramids and ziggurats. So there's a reason that stuff was built. There's no reason for this next story to have been built, but Ben,
we're gonna
robot dogs
again,
armed with AI targeting rifles, are undergoing Marine Special Ops evaluation.
What could possibly go wrong?
Quadrupeds being reviewed have automatic targeting systems, but require human oversight to fire.
Okay.
The United States Marine
Corps. I guess that's a safety valve, if you will.
Do you feel safe with that safety valve?
No. In fact, I'd probably if the AI was in control of itself rather than a human. To be honest with you.
The United States Marine Forces Special Forces Command currently evaluating a new generation of robotic dogs developed by Ghost Robotics, with the potential to be equipped with gun systems from defense tech company Onyx Industries, reports The War Zone. While Mars Doc, which is the United States Marine Forces Special Operations Command, is testing Ghost Robotics quadrupedal unmanned ground vehicle called QUGVs for short. That's not short. That's more difficult to say than unmanned ground vehicles, honestly. But you have to add the quadrupedal. For various applications, including reconnaissance and surveillance, it's the possibility of arming them with weapons for remote engagement that might draw most attention. But it's not unprecedented. The United States Marine Corps has also tested robotic dogs armed with rocket launchers in the past. Why wouldn't you? MARSOC is currently in possession of 2 armed QUGVs undergoing testing, as confirmed by Oni Industries staff. and their gun systems are based on Onyx's Century remote weapon systems, which feature AI-enabled digital imaging system and can automatically detect and track people, drones, or vehicles, reporting potential targets to remote human operators that could be located anywhere in the world. The system maintains a human-in-the-loop control for fire decisions, and it cannot decide to fire autonomously.
I don't believe you.
If it can fire on an acquired target that it has the sensor system for, eventually, chun 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 chun.
Yeah, this is not good. This doesn't end well.
It's just, I get the idea that you don't want to send human beings to fight your wars.
I agree. I guess in that sense, for sure, this does save lives on some level, right?
Yeah, two things about that. Why do we have to fight these wars in the first place?
Well, yeah, that's a whole other discussion that we could waste 45 minutes on.
And two, is it really about like fighting and tech and ideas, or is it just we like death?
Well, it's the war machine,
We like
right?
death.
It's the military-industrial complex. Money has to be spent for that shit to be invented, right? I mean, and someone's getting rich off that shit.
Look, the money can be spent elsewhere, Ben.
It could be, yes,
Okay.
but it's being spent there.
Ben, we could be studying why belugas may communicate by warping a blob of forehead fat.
What? What does that even mean, warping a blob of forehead?
The beluga whale, Ben, wears its heart on its sleeve, or rather, its forehead.
Hey-o!
Researchers have created a visual encyclopedia of different expressions that belugas in captivity seem to make with their highly mobile melon. A squishy deposit of fat on the forehead that helps direct sound waves for echolocation. Using muscles and connective tissues, belugas can extend the melon forward until it juts over the lips just like the bill of a cat, mush it down until it's flattened against their skull, lift it vertically to create an impressively fleshy top hat, and shake it with such force that it jiggles like jello. This is a quote from Justin Richard. Yeah, he's of the University of Rhode Island in Kingston. It doesn't scream, pay attention to me. I'm sorry. I don't know what it does, he says. It's like watching a peacock spread its feathers.
There's different photos of all the different ways that it uses its little fucking blubber.
Before Richard became a scientist, he spent a decade as a beluga trainer at the Mystic Aquarium in Connecticut, working closely with the enigmatic animals. Quote, even as a trainer, I knew the shapes meant something, but nobody had been able to put together enough observations to make sense of it. Over the course of a year, from 2014 to 2015, Richard and colleagues recorded interactions between 4 belugas at the Mystic Aquarium. The Mystic Aquarium, analyzing the footage, revealed that the belugas made 5 distinct melon shapes that scientists dubbed flat, lift, press, push, and shake. Which is like I don't know how many more, what is it, look, my memory is going like I'm losing my memory. What are the 12 things that Cinderella or Snow White, the dwarves?
Oh, yes, the dwarves. Yeah. I
Flat, lift, press, push, shake.
Where are you going with this?
I don't know. I'm talking about beluga whales. I'm drinking like 100 proof liquor. Come on. I'm as much into this as anybody else. Did you want to see about? Okay, so you want to skip a story and watch somebody talk about animals and their political career absolutely go up in shambles?
Oh, this is fantastic, dude! This is one of my favorite political stories in a long time. Kristi Noem watching her squirm in these interviews on television over and over and over again, and trying so hard to explain away this shooting the dog story is just fantastic. It's watching someone crash and burn in full fucking color.
And knowing that they know that they're crashing and burning.
Oh, yes, and just desperately trying to change the narrative or change the subject. And it's on all sides, dude. That's what's crazy is that, she's on Fox News.
When Newsmax calls you out.
Yeah,
Newsmax!
Yeah, they love everything Republican. They will defend anything Republican. And they were like, shooting a dog? Nope, we're out on that.
Did you want to show that there's a real quick clip of her basically shutting down an interview because the reporter...
This is the Fox Business one,
Auto
right?
Trader's
really,
distant retailing solution gives your dealership the ability to get a leg up on your competition and find buyers outside of your local market.
Go to them.
Power that moment when you reach
Auto
further,
Trader.
close faster,
Go
and
to Auto
profit
Trader.
more
Search
with
our
Auto
cars,
Trader.
No.
Over the
last
week. I should not have put it in
why
the book.
Why isn't it playing the audio?
I heard it.
You did? Okay, because I can't.
That I'm not going to
But
talk
an
about my
anecdote
meetings.
indicates that it happened,
I'm
right?
not
Did the
with
dog story come
President
up in your
Trump.
conversation
I
with
talk
Trump?
to President Trump all the time.
Did you bring up
yes,
the dog?
enough,
with Trump?
Stuart.
With Trump? Did you
this
bring
interview
up the dog
is
with Trump?
ridiculous, what you were doing right now.
When you recorded your own audiobook, you didn't notice
I'm
this
not going to
passage?
discuss about my meetings with world leaders.
I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you about recording the audio.
Did you want to talk about something else today?
Now, Noam had been a top candidate to join Donald Trump's ticket. Here's what Trump himself said about her yesterday.
I like her a lot, so, I don't want to comment on anybody on the list, but she had a rough couple of days, I will say that.
Governor Noam was scheduled to be on this program, Inside Politics, today. Her team reached out to us weeks ago to book her here, and we reconfirmed earlier this week. She abruptly canceled last night. We want to say, Governor, you are, of course, welcome on the program anytime. Back with the...
Yeah, that's crazy.
Auto Trader's
It's tough.
She is so... Yeah, she was on... So I watched the CBS Morning News, Gayle King and Nate Burleson and the whole gang, because I love yelling at Gayle King. Both Adrian and I love... And Vlad on that show, I hate them so much. And I love... It's great yelling at the TV stuff. But nevertheless, she was on, and they, even Gayle King, Gayle King is the queen of softball questions, right? She doesn't want to ask anything tough ever. And even she was like, you couldn't just give the dog to someone? You had to shoot it? There was nothing else you could do? Really?
That was your go-to. That was your first call.
That was it's just it's amazing to me that she thought that it was going to play so differently. People were going to see, she makes tough decisions.
She put it... So, I apparently, according to sources, she wanted to put it in her first book. But at the time, her staff said, are you fucking crazy?
Right.
So, she pushed... to have it put in her second book. Think about that.
I know.
She got rid of the safeguards of sane people that said, look, I don't know why I'm still working for you knowing that you did that. But right now, my job title and my salary depends on me telling you, don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
Let alone put it in a book.
And then she killed her goat.
And then there were horses killed. Shit. Look, we in the immortal words of O.J. Simpson, we got a problem.
Yeah, listen, Kristi Noem before this was an outrageous lunatic. Make no mistake about it. She is super MAGA. She wears it like a badge of honor that she was the only governor that didn't shut down her state during COVID. She is, and to listen to her talk, she thinks that she is the second coming of Obama. but for conservatives. She believes
the next
that
Palin,
she's a freedom fighter or like some sort of leading revolutionary, and it's so delusional.
I want to just touch on a point that Ryan Hansen made there, and a reference to Old Yeller. Old Yeller is a touch point because it was the end of life of a beloved animal that had done so much for a family and had been part of that family, that it became so disabled and could not enjoy its life anymore, that it was the proper thing to be put down. Had that been the case...
Correct. That's two different things, yes.
This was a 13-month-old puppy that was just simply misbehaving. And if you have children, that is like saying you shot your toddler because it made a mess or was you couldn't control it at the mall.
Yeah, she kept saying, "I chose the safety of my kids."
Thanks.
You know, she says that she kept that kept being her go-to answer was, "I was just protecting my children." And it's like, dude, there are a million things that you could have done other than take it to a fucking gravel pit and shoot it.
People were posting like how close animal shelters were
to
her location and her home. Like she didn't have to drive very far. Okay, let's get off the idea of shooting dogs and terrible people who should not have positions of power anywhere, anytime. And actually, maybe show a video of an animal on this planet not only renowned for its motherly maternal skills and defense mechanisms, but its ability to
my wife's seen this video
ask for help when needed.
This is like me and my wife trying to wake up my son in the morning.
I figured this is what it was like trying to wake me up back in the day too.
Yeah, this is definitely
come on. But then watch, like he's like, "Oh shit, who the fuck are you, mom? Mom,
who is this?" Put some respect on her anxiety.
I think there's one more. I think there's.
Can we talk about this TV for a second?
Can we? Okay, yeah. I'm good. Yes, folks. I like tech, and I gotta have it. So Samsung has just launched a 114-inch micro LED TV. So expensive, they're actually offering you an additional $8,000 8K TV just to buy it.
I know what I'm about to convince my wife I want.
114 inches, babe. Think
Woo!
about it. Samsung.
Look at that.
Hello.
I can play some MLB The Show on that motherfucker.
I can absolutely I will I've already lost in some of my Xbox games, but Witcher 3. Oh fuck. Anyway. Samsung.
We have both been...
We're getting a lot of pushback here, Ben. I just want to say that you and I stand united in our quest to acquire this 114-inch micro LED TV.
Soundingly shouted down by our...
Ladies, can you imagine what Bridgerton looks like? Can you imagine what, I don't know, housewives of someplace?
I wanted an 80-inch television, and I got shouted down.
Oh, I absolutely asserted myself when purchasing the 75-inch.
I have a 75, and it's worth it.
Oh, God, yes. Absolutely. Best thing ever.
Yes.
Besides you, babe. Samsung has launched a new television aimed squarely at those whose money is no object, measuring to 114 inches. And packing micro LED technology, the ultra premium set cost the equivalent of around, Ben, $130,000. It's so expensive that Samsung's giving away an 8K TV worth $8,000 as an incentive to buyers.
That's wild. Look at how big that TV is. Look at it.
Look how clear it is. Look how gorgeous it is. You don't need anything else. You don't need a couch. You have that TV. You don't need artwork or anything else in the room. You have that TV.
You don't even need a house because it costs as much as one.
Pretty right.
Or as much as one used to cost.
$133,000. You could probably get like a Maserati.
Oh, for sure. You can get a nice car for $130,000.
Just to put it out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we actually do need a couch, so we will not be buying this. But
we absolutely need a couch.
we actually do. We really do. It's one of those things. Ben, how about that last those two, the AI story, and then let's talk about the redemption of humanity. Why don't
we're gonna go right to the end, right to that video at the end?
No, let's talk about AI discovering. No, I think the AI story, because we want to talk about some of the good things that AI has done.
Yeah, because we just talked about AI dogs with guns. So.
Well, this is no less terrifying, actually, but this is AI, quote unquote, helping us. And they actually, AI discovered 27,000 overlooked asteroids in old telescope images.
It went through old images and was like, hey guys, I don't mean to alarm you, but...
Did you guys see this?
Did you guys see this shit?
This? How about this one? This one? I'm going to say this about 27,000 more times. Guys.
How lucky are we that all of that shit missed us?
Like, in all honesty, this is one of those things that like AI is built for. Mm-hmm. You can look through this data and with a more critical eye than any human being ever. More than 27,000 asteroids in our solar system have been overlooked in existing telescope images, but thanks to a new AI-powered algorithm, we now have a catalog of them. The scientists behind the discovery say the tool made it easier to find and track millions of asteroids, including potentially dangerous ones that might strike Earth someday. It is for those threatening space rocks. The world needs years of advance warning before trying to deflect them away from our planet. So congratulations to AI for actually discovering something that is a threat to us and kind of quantifying that. Ben, are you ready to cry?
Well, I was thinking about the fact that we are long overdue for a catastrophic event on this planet. That had me almost tearing up. You got something else?
Maybe we should just do the lightning round then, because
all right. Well, hold on. I
want to do this because this
is bad.
Do you want to restore, Ben? The title of this account is actually Restoring Your Faith in Humanity. Okay. I guess we might as well just do it.
All right.
But it takes a special individual to do these sort of things, and even then, an even more special individual to be celebrated in such a way.
Aw. Oh yeah, that's what's up. Playing a little Uno with Spider-Man. That's so good. That's so dope. That's great.
Oh no, they're in sync. Just a reminder, everybody, that there are good people out there, and that if you're a helper, help, and if you need help, seek a helper, because
Absolutely.
they're out there. With that all said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lightning Round. It's where the world's most dangerous chat room gets charged up, and you might start to see some lightning bolts appear in there. And if you're new to the program, well, welcome in. This is my dad's favorite segment. If you're familiar with the show, we're still going to go over the rules of the segment. It is where I read 3 headlines to the Thunderdome, the world's most dangerous chat zone. And in an exercise of democracy, you, the people, vote on which story we cover. That is simply it, folks. It's very simple.
We give you the headlines. You tell us which one you want us to read the whole story.
Democracy. And Dad's already voting for headline number 5. Already bending the rules like a true Broox. And I appreciate that. With no dilly or dally, ladies and gentlemen, headline number 1. RFK Jr. says a worm ate part of his brain and then died inside of his head.
Wait, what's this number 5? People are voting for number 5?
Headline number 2. Alpaca sex is even weirder than you think.
Alpaca sex. That was that's a Rough Me Up song, isn't it?
Alpaca sex is actually a box set from Rough Me Up, where it's 13 separate CD cases, each containing, like, they did something fucked up, man. There was like 40 seconds of each song and all 13 CDs to make one song. They really went weird with that.
And that's why they called it alpaca sex.
Which is even weirder than you think.
Yeah.
Headline number 3. A little girl said monsters were in her bedroom. It was 60,000 bees.
Ah! That's like that guy at the baseball game last week. Did you see that?
No.
At the Diamondbacks game, I think it was the Diamondbacks. Like a swarm of bees invaded the stadium, and they had to call this like bee expert to come while the game was like live. They had to pause the game while this bee expert came out for bees, for a swarm of fucking. You know what? Read the headlines again. I'll find the video. I'm on it. I'm on the case.
This is not unheard of. We always read the headlines again. So
yes.
just in case you're still on the fence that there's your bozo computer algorithm's still going wild and needs some more input. Headline number 1. RFK Jr. says a worm ate part of his brain and then died inside his head. Headline number 2. Alpaca sex is even weirder than you think. And headline number 3. A little girl said monsters were in her bedroom. It was 60,000 bees. The Australian guys in there voting too. Chompy Mage making his vote. Vote.
Australian guy showing up on that one.
I love it.
Brains, alpaca style.
For those alpaca style, that's like Gungan style. I'm thinking already like he's doing like the weird like dressed like an alpaca. For those of you voting number 5, I will forgive you your vote and allow you a second ballot in the truest tradition of Russian voting. But as we collect votes here now, we are there. I got that there.
Real quick, while you're doing that, while we're collecting votes, check this out real quick.
Scene here at Chase Field, you're looking live at
They had a bee.
Those are bees?
Those are bees.
High atop the backstop behind home plate, and thus remain in a bee delay prior to game 2 of the series.
No.
But
so then they watched this guy comes out of nowhere.
Hero.
Yes. So while this is going on, I'll tell you, this guy became like instantly famous, right? To the point that
yes.
Topps has created a baseball card that they're inserting, like an autographed 1-of-1 baseball card of this guy that they are inserting into their next set of cards because he became that famous.
I suddenly now want to buy Topps baseball cards, and I haven't had that urge since I was 8 years old.
So the next day they had him throw out the first pitch.
That's awesome. He should have kept his fucking bee hat on.
Yeah.
Are you fucking dumb? Come on, man. Half of the allure was we didn't know what your face looked like. You were just a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Now we're like, I work out. I go to CrossFit. Fuck
yeah,
you.
he was at some like a family event, and they called him. They're like, you have to get to Chase Field immediately because there's a swarm of bees that's delaying the game.
Well, speaking of swarms, there has been a swarm of votes for story number 3.
All right, let's do it.
Why don't we keep a beeline
on
this topic? As voted by the world's most dangerous chat zone, you guys, the lifeblood of the show, headline number 3. A little girl said monsters were in her bedroom and it was 60,000 bees.
Terrifying.
When 3-year-old Sailor Class began complaining of monsters in her bedroom, her parents thought it was just a figment of the child's overactive imagination. But then a beekeeper discovered tens of thousands of honeybees above the girl's bedroom.
Oh my God.
Sailor had complained of monsters in the wall at her inner room of the farmhouse of Charlotte, North Carolina. Woo! Her mother, Ashley Mace's Class, and her husband thought nothing of it. They had just shown the daughter the Pixar movie Monsters, Inc. Quote, we even gave her a bottle of water and said it was monster spray so she could spray away any of the monsters at night, the mom said. But over the following months, Sailor became more insistent that there was something in her closet. It began to make more sense when Miss Massey's class, I guess the mother, noticed the bees swarming in clusters near the attic and chimney outside their 100-year-old home. They thought Sailor might be hearing the buzzing near her bedroom ceiling. But Miss Class called a pest control company that found the winged insects were honeybees, a protected species in the United States. She and her husband contacted a beekeeper who noticed the insects were traveling towards the floorboards of the attic right above the daughter's room. The bees had spent 8 months building their monster hive. Ben, I didn't send you this. I'm going to send you this because, you kind of have to see where...
Yeah, I would think you have to think. You would have
this
to see.
picture where they tore apart this kid's room. Hold on here. Not 11.
Not 11 to 13 hectares.
That's important to know, though, but for 45 minutes ago. Hold on. Where I was completely... Hi, welcome to a live broadcast, everybody. All right. I think I got it. I think I know how to do this.
Waiting.
The generation of the internet right here, ladies.
There we go. All right. Let me find this picture.
The bees had spent 8 months building the monster hive. The beekeeper thought brought a thermal canner to scan the walls in the 3-year-old's bedroom. Again, this is a 3-year-old going, Mom, Dad, there are monsters in the wall. It lit up like Christmas, Mom said. The beekeeper said he had never seen a hive go that far down the wall. He tracked it to a coin-sized hole in the corner of the attic vent. The beekeeper, whom Masses' class daughter began calling the monster hunter, opened the wall to reveal the large honeycomb. This is a quote, "They just came pouring out like a horror movie."
Oh my God.
The beekeeper removed between 55,000 and 65,000 bees and 100 pounds of honeycomb.
Oh, shit.
There have been 3 extractions by reverse vacuuming insects out of the wall to put them into boxes. The insects are now being relocated to a honeybee sanctuary, in case you were.
So you mean to tell me that this family and this beekeeper can rehome 55,000 bees, but Christy Gnome can't rehome one fucking dog?
Ah, wow. That is
Think about it.
That's it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's been talking. We're tying all the stories together here in a cohesive egg of knowledge and wisdom and conversation. That's Topic Thunder, and I don't know if I'll ever describe it like that again, because folks, this bourbon
It's her business.
strong. And it is our business to present all of this to you guys, and we take that job seriously. So with all due respect to all of these news sources, that they're not the star of the show. You guys are the star of the show in the world's most dangerous chat zone. So thank you for being the lifeblood of the show. Again, like it, share it. Please share it. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your cousins, tell your uncles.
Oh, come on,
you don't like. All opinions are welcome here. We're happy to have the conversation, because that's just what it is. So thanks to you, everybody, again, for making Topic Thunder what it is. From the USS Rapapa, this has been Topic Thunder.